complex itself at least extends these warnings here. So we'll go right to 24/7 Skywarn radar. A couple of things we're going to look at here. Number one, right off the bat, you can see the lightning detection showing up within this complex of showers and thunderstorms. 2,600 strikes, 2,600 plus strikes in the last 5 or 10 minutes. This is why we're breaking in. It's going through, again, major cities in our viewing area. It does include, eventually, you folks in Stevens Point and Plover. And as the storm slides east-southeast at around 40 miles an hour, it will be affecting not only northern portions of Juneau and Adams County, but likely Waushara County and most of Portage County. For now, everyone else kind of in the clear around our area, especially, I think, north of Highway 29, but out towards Clark County near Neillsville, right off Highway 10. There's a stronger storm just to the north of Neillsville. But again, we're going to focus in on this storm first. I'm going to take off lightning detection, and we'll take a look at hail. The hail has been pretty impressive with the warm temperatures, not only at the surface, but also aloft with this amazing ridge of high pressure. I mean, this is, I would say, almost historic, since we haven't seen heat waves like this in the last 3 or 4 years. I know we're not incredibly hot right now in some spots just because of the showers and thunderstorms with round number 1 that pushed through this morning, and also this complex. But you go just west and south, especially in the southern tier of the state, southwestern half of the Badger State, we're talking heat indices well over 100 degrees and temperatures into the 90s. So these little profiles right here in the light blue shading show us the hail core. And this gives us marble size. Earlier we had over quarter size, but you're getting a good indication of the hail intensity here. We're at least showing maybe a half to 3/4 inch size hail. And again, with this setup with this storm, I wouldn't be surprised if at least you folks in Rapids, also possibly near Necedah, Big Flats, if you're looking at least quarter size hail. The other thing I wanted to look at is the winds. The winds are probably pretty gusty in some of these spots, so we'll see if we can get a few of these right off the bat, but not showing too much in terms of the wind profile, and these aren't always accurate either, but we'll zoom in here. We'll see if we can get a couple indications here, if we can actually get some major wind out of the bargain here. And this is right on top of Wisconsin Rapids. You see some of the darker green shadings, and what I'm also looking for is any rotation. Again, severe thunderstorms easily can put down a tornado with, again, little or no warning. So that's why we're, again, on air. It's not a tornado warning at this time. Again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but sometimes these severe thunderstorms can contain some rotation, not only aloft, but sometimes they can spawn off tornadoes. We'll take a look here, and this is right in between Necedah and Wisconsin Rapids. Some of the darker shading probably showing around 40 miles an hour. So at this time, our radar indication not showing any major gusty winds, but earlier our Wisconsin Rapids Skycam was up, and that is now down. And I'm sure if there's some type of technology error within that, or something on our end that's not working, but for now we don't have that. I can show you the Marshfield Skycam, and that will show you kind of what's going on in that neck of the woods. That's down as well. We'll try to get that back up as soon as possible. But I want to at least put a storm track on this. Again, we're not going to stay on air too long. We'll stay on another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll get you right back to Ellen. I know I don't want to take up too much of the time. But again, this is a dangerous situation, and we want to make sure everyone around the Wisconsin Rapids, Stevens Point area, and south and east are taking shelter at this time. So we'll put a storm track on this. Again, this storm, the most dangerous part of the storm, diving down to the east-southeast at around 40-45 miles an hour. So these are the locations that will soon be impacted, or possibly already impacted. Again, Wisconsin Rapids, it's right on your doorstep. I mean, you are getting probably hammered with torrential downpours, a plethora of lightning. And look at the lightning tracker. Again, we're talking 1,900 strikes in the last 5 to 10 minutes. These are, again, brand new lightning strikes. We could show you and go ahead and show you the last 30 minutes, but we're probably talking 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 lightning strikes. Again, the amount of energy in the atmosphere today is just incredible. And when you actually, what we call the capping inversion, when you actually help to break that capping inversion with some of the warmer temperatures at the surface, the cap kind of prevents any type of development. The warmer temperatures aloft, and you have some cooler temperatures because of the round number 1 of showers and thunderstorms. But once that surface starts to heat up, you get explosive thunderstorms developing, and that's what we're looking at right now. Again, not everyone's seen at this time, but again, some of us are. Here is the at least time of arrivals here. It's 4:02 right now, so again, right on your doorstep. You folks in Necedah, if not, pretty much right on top of you. Big flats soon if you're not getting any showers or thunderstorms. Again, this is just estimated times of arrival. You can see the population impact as well, around 18,000. So earlier when I expanded it just out, we were talking 60 to 65,000. But again, I mean, there's a lot of people in around central and north central Wisconsin. So we want to make sure we have this under the control for you. Plover, Stevens Point. If you're not seeing rain now, the strongest part of the storm could be near you in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then going right down the list, eventually you folks in Adams Friendship and possibly getting closer to northwestern Waushara County. That will run until around 4:21. I'm going to take a look here quickly at some more warnings. It looks like just issued there is another severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to run until 5:15. That does include Portage and Waushara County. So we're going to take off the time lapse on this. The time of arrival will zoom out a bit, and we'll take off radar and lightning, and then we'll give you a good idea of what's going on right here. These are the warnings going on right now. Again, it does include Wood County. That runs for another 12 minutes. Does include Juneau and Adams County. That runs until 4:15 as well. This new severe thunderstorm warning for far southwestern Portage County and most of Waushara County, that runs until 5:15. So this one's running a little bit longer. Just because of the nature of the storm, and it's still far away, but we're getting, I think the reason why we're putting at least the severe thunderstorm warning out, the National Weather Service is still far out, but you're getting what's called the outflow part of the storm. As the storm drives south into the east, you're getting winds ahead of this storm system. It almost acts like a mini cold front. The cool air rushes to the surface along this whole front, or this cell right here, and it acts as a cold front, and that cool, dry air is just get pounded right down to the surface, so you get some nasty winds ahead of it. That's why I think the Weather Service is at least going ahead and putting out that severe thunderstorm warning for Waushara County. So eventually, right along the Highway 39 corridor, this strongest or most severe part of the storm will be passing right along I-39, and right in this area, pretty much near Wisconsin Rapids, back towards Findlay and southwest of Findlay. That's the most intense part of the storm per radar at this time. So if you're just joining us, we have, again, severe thunderstorm warnings in central portions of Wisconsin. It does, again, include Wood County, southwestern Portage, most of Waushara County, and just northern fringes of Juneau and Adams County. And we're just looking at radar reflectivity at this point. Again, we'll take a look at possibly some hail, and we'll look at some wind velocities as well in just a bit. But I want to focus in on the colors of this because, obviously, we're talking about over 1,000 to 2,000 lightning strikes within this cluster the last 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, since I've been here doing weather in Wisconsin, I mean, that's quite a bit. I mean, usually you can see that a lot with big lines of showers and thunderstorms, but again, the instability is there. I mean, the atmosphere is loaded not only with moisture, but with power. When you have dew points into the 70s, storms love that. Storms love moisture. They absolutely love temperatures this hot. And a lot of times our problem is we don't break through that cap. Again, the capping inversion, the warm air aloft, and you get some cooler temperatures at the surface. It takes a while to heat the surface before you get some of that hot air to rise, and that helps to blow up some of these showers and thunderstorms. So again, the main threats within the storm, gusty to possibly damaging winds, and also some large hail. We could be talking about quarter-size hail, and the lightning capacity as well. We're talking anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 lightning strikes right off the bat here in this cell alone the last 5 or 10 minutes. So we'll put lightning detection back on, and we're looking at right there, right off the bat, again, 2,200. At some points, we've seen even more than that the last, again, 5 or 10 minutes looking at this storm, the development. I mean, we saw anywhere from 2,600 to some spots even more than that. As I mentioned also, again, you must seek shelter if you're in any of these polygon areas for the severe thunderstorm. Again, you do not want to be outside during an event like this when you're talking lightning strikes, again, that many within a small area. It looks like we have the Wisconsin Rapids Skycam back up and working. I'm going to go to that one just to give you an idea of what's going on here. Earlier when I had that up, it had almost a green and dark tint. It looked like it was sunset. Again, this is a pretty dangerous storm. It looks like it's starting, at least the strongest and most severe part of this storm, starting to move out for you folks in Wisconsin Rapids. But again, make sure you stay inside for at least the next 15 to 30 minutes or until the severe thunderstorm warning is either pulled, canceled, or allowed to expire. We'll go back to radar here. And again, that whole area, that orange polygon, giving an indication of the power of these showers and thunderstorms. We're talking about lightning strikes. We're talking about quarter size to even bigger size hail. And earlier, again, when I showed you the hail zone tracker, or at least the hail core within this storm, not showing anything impressive. In fact, the storm down to the southwest that's not even warned yet near Toma is producing at least the highest amount of hail, or at least the biggest hail. So we'll see what's down in that area. They're looking at around a penny, so that's again about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. The rest of this area, marble size, so that might be 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch, and possibly even pea-size hail. So at this time, hail might not be the biggest concern at this storm. It still is, even though radar indicating that wind is not the biggest problem within the storm. I still think it is. I mean, we're talking probably winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. Anytime you have dew points that are soaring into the 70s, and I'm going to show you that too, there is a lot of energy and a lot of power within this storm. So there's the dew points. And they came back down just a bit because the rain cooled air helped to at least saturate the atmosphere, and it brought the dew points down a little bit. It sounds almost counterintuitive, but that's the way it sometimes works here. And mid and upper 70s. So again, this storm is going into an environment that's incredibly unstable. So we're probably not going to see, again, a weakening trend with this storm as it passes down to the east-southeast. When the storm started out, it looked like it was trying to drive east-southeast, or rather east-northeast, and then it started to kind of favor and go into the warmer and the more moist sector of the state. And that's why the track now is pushing more east to southeast. Give you an idea of what's going on with the temperatures. I mean, it's cooled down. The Adams sensor right now is not even working. Possibly it might be out because of the storms. Can't give you that information right off the bat, but again, the rain cooled air helping things out in just a bit. Again, folks in Rhinelander closing in on that record. Remember, it's been 1,060 days since the last 90-degree high. You got to go back to August 25th of 2013, the last time you had a 90-degree high. So again, I just kind of want to show you the temperatures to give you an indication of how explosive and how dangerous this day can be. I mean, we're talking about temperatures nearing 90, heat indices over 100 earlier. Again, it looks like the Adams sensor is still showing a heat index of 106. So the power in the atmosphere is incredible today. So that's why we're staying on air for at least a little while here, and you're trying to give you the latest information right now on this storm. So we'll get you back to 24/7 Skywarn radar and talk a little bit more about this storm. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning, if you're just joining us, runs for another 6 minutes. This is for portions of Wood County, northern Juneau, northern Adams County, and this whole line itself, or this storm, we can call it almost a scattered storm. It's trying almost to develop a line here. You can see kind of scattered back down to the southwest, just to the south of Toma, right along Interstate 90, passing in between basically Toma and Findlay and Wisconsin Rapids. But again, it's this storm we're going to focus on here. I mean, this is just incredible, the lightning strikes. And that'll show you again, too, overall the intensity of this storm, and it's not weakening. Again, when I was bringing up the Wisconsin Rapids Skycam, we were showing around 2,000 lightning strikes, and now we're showing about 2,700 lightning strikes. So if you're wondering why I'm on air, I consider this an incredibly dangerous situation in terms of a severe thunderstorm. You do not want to be outside in this storm. Again, with all the lightning strikes, you're talking 2,700 in the last 5 or 10 minutes. That's incredible. And you're also talking about the potential for some hail the size of quarters. You're talking about torrential downpours. Again, in this area, we'll have to see with the rainfall totals, or at least these sensors, what kind of rain's being produced. But I would imagine with the loaded atmosphere, with the dew points in the 70s, again, this is all this Gulf moisture soaring in around this ridge of high pressure, you're going to get rainfall rates that are probably up there as well. So I won't be surprised, you folks in Rapids, eventually Plainfield, I know even Burin, Port Edwards, you're looking at Necedah possibly, Nakusa, even Stevens Point, maybe a ½ inch to an inch of rainfall. Again, the good thing with this storm is it's trying to move off rather quickly at around 40 miles an hour. So this is the storm right here. It looks like Stevens Point, you're just to the north of the strongest core of this storm. But Plover, you might not be as lucky, and certainly you folks in Plainfield and eventually Wautoma will probably not be as lucky. So this sector back here, the eastern half of these warnings, this runs until 5:15. So we have another hour and 4 minutes. I'm probably not going to stay on air that long, but I still want to make sure everyone's safe. And I know folks up north probably wondering why we're breaking in, why we're staying so long. I want to be fair to all viewers at this time. If this storm was near in the Northwoods or any sector of our viewing area, I would be on air covering this storm, just because I think the capacity of the storm, it does worry me a bit. So that's why we're staying on air. We want to make sure everyone is safe here. You folks in Adams Friendship will be under the gun as well. Again, the biggest threats here, again, since it's a severe thunderstorm, and we're talking about the threshold here of 58-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. That's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm, and at this time, that's the biggest concern. But anytime you're showing lightning strikes continuing to rise as I'm on air, that's a big concern since we're getting close to about 3,000. Let's take a storm track on this. See all the folks that are affected by this. I'm going to have to around 40 miles an hour the last time I checked. So these are the towns that will be affected, at least the outflow. This is not the core of the storm. This is the outflow of the storm, so possibly the strongest part, or at least the strongest winds, or possibly the most damaging winds would be, this would be the time of arrival estimation, in my opinion, for this. 413 for you folks in Adams Friendship. So it's 413 right now. If you have any reports, let us know what you're seeing on Facebook. Of course, we want to stay away from windows. We want to do things in a very safe manner. But if you do have any weather pictures, if you have any weather reports, if you have some trees down, if you have power outages, let us know. You can go on our Facebook page and let us know. Soon, Jeremy Taven or Chad Franzen will be doing a Facebook chat soon whenever we can get that up for you. And then you can at least let us know that way as well. But usually, again, you're the eyes and the ears during these situations to give us information and try to let the folks ahead of this storm, hey, this is what happened here, this is what happened there. At least the best idea within this storm. So again, right through Plainfield, Easton, Grand Marsh, Blaine, Heffron, again, right under the gun with this storm. And the last time I did check, it is pushing east-southeast at around 40 miles an hour. I'm going to check real quick and see if there's any updates. Again, the Weather Service saying around 415 for Friendship. They also included Delwood and Adams at around 415. Again, this is the latest information coming in around 4 or 5 minutes ago from the National Weather Service. And I'm getting a bunch of beeps as well. Let's see if there's any more updates. It looks like this was extended now for Juneau and Adams County until 5 o'clock. No surprise there, just with how the storm is kind of just trekking along and kind of back building that we're seeing. So we'll take off that storm track. Again, it's storm here. We'll take off lightning to you so you can show. Okay, so this was extended down into, now it's most of Juneau and Adams County. We'll bring this back up. And it looks like you folks in Wood County, at least most of Wood County, not under that severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like, again, Portage County still here, and also Waushara County, that runs until 5:15. It's Juneau and Adams County, and it looks like now this would be Marquette and Green Lake County. They would be under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. That's not the Green Bay, that's the Green Bay market, not our market, but it's this spot here. So it's central and southern portions of Juneau and Adams County. This is going to run until 5:15. I know there's a lot of different polygons here that it's hard to almost keep track here, but again, these are going to run until 5:15. These back here for Juneau Adams for 5 o'clock. It's southwestern Wood and also Waushara counties that are going to run until 5:15. So we'll put radar back on. I promise we'll get you back to Ellen whenever I feel that this situation is a little bit more safe. But again, with all these towns under the gun, and now we're looking at possibly near Stevens Point and possibly Plover, all the way down on I-39, and including most of Waushara County and a good chunk of Juneau and Adams County. We want to stay on air and give you the latest information. So this is what radar looks like right now. Right off the bat, when I'm looking at this storm, it's the intensity of the reflectivity of the radar. And what I mean by that is it's the different colors. The different colors, the brighter the colors you get, the more oranges, the more reds. Possibly there might even be some pinks in there. I'm not seeing pinks, but once in a while we can get some pinks. The darker the color, the more intense the storm. So you're going to have more lightning, and you're going to have heavier downpours. It's that kind of day that any thunderstorm that does develop has a chance to become severe rather quickly. And the Storm Prediction Center actually saying the same thing. It's basically south of Highway 10 and north of I-30 or I-94, just near Madison. That's kind of the prime zone right now for those showers and thunderstorms to turn severe right now. Now, the good news with this storm, if we want to say there's any good news, we're not getting any reports of major rotation. We're not getting any reports of funnel clouds at this time. And we're not getting any reports of, again, tornadoes, but it's just these severe warned storms that we're tracking for you. In general, the rest of the viewing area actually not looking too bad at this time. We'll take a look here. We'll let this animate for just a bit, and you can kind of see the nature of these storms. They're just passing and diving east to southeast. And I mean, from this radar signature, look at the intensity and how much they're strengthening just in the last hour or so. I mean, if you go from 117 to now 417, I know that's a 3-hour loop. I mean, there wasn't much trekking or much developed or at least anything really major out towards the Eau Claire market. But look at the clouds blossoming as well. That's an indication to me that there is some incredibly strong updrafts. When you have that kind of energy blowing up in the atmosphere like that, the clouds and the energy have to go somewhere if they're going straight up. So they're kind of scattering right along in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that's why you're not getting just a standstill storm. You're getting all these clouds kind of scattered all the way around. So some of these towers of these storms might be over 40, 45, 50,000 feet. Again, I don't have that information, but for my science background, that would make sense to me when you're looking at the overall nature, again, of these clouds. I mean, it's almost incredible to see that, just the whole complex itself. Again, these are racing east to southeast, and I would say probably by 5:15, 5:30, we're hoping that these are marching out of our viewing area and we won't have to worry about too much. Again, this area will be almost picked over, so we're not going to see redevelopment of showers and thunderstorms. And even if we did back to the west, these storms pushed back in without any more destabilization or any recharging of the atmosphere, you're not going to get redevelopment of showers and thunderstorms. Now, that's not to say it can't happen up in the Northwoods, but again, this area, even the Storm Prediction Center pointing out that this is the most, at least, area of concern in terms of showers and thunderstorms. So I'm going to put another track on this storm. I'll give you some more information on the severe thunderstorm warnings, and then at that point, we might be able to go back to programming. Here is our 24/7 Skywarn radar. We'll go back to the home view. And again, nothing else going on at this time. It's everything right along Highway 10 and Highway 21 down to the south. So we'll zoom in once again, show you the lightning intensity coming back just a bit, and I actually zoomed out. So again, 2,700 strikes is more than we had at one point. I know when I broke in the first time, we were around 1,900, 2,000, I believe, and it kept going up to around, I think, 28, 2,900, and now we're back to around 26, 2,700. But still, that's in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Incredible amount of lightning and thunder within these storms, and I don't chuckle. I don't chuckle. I'm just surprised by it. It's pretty amazing to see that much. It's a dangerous situation. So again, if you're joining us in this section or this sector of our viewing area, if you're under the gun in I would say northeastern Juneau and most of Adams County, far eastern and southeastern Wood, and also southwestern Portage, and even getting now along I-39 near Plainfield and western portions of Waushara County. Again, you guys are going to be under the gun for some major lightning. You want to seek shelter at this time. You're going to probably have some gusty winds. That gusty outflow, no surprise there. So you might have some winds in excess of 58 miles an hour. And obviously the lightning. I want to take a look at the hail. So far, it's come down a bit. Back when the storm was first issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Wood near Marshfield, we were looking at quarter size. There were some green contours. You can see the blue. These are the tracks of the hail. We call this hail zone on our 24/7 Skywarn radar, and this just gives us an idea aloft. This sends radar beams through the storms, and again, it kind of gives us a depiction of the hail core, the hail size of these stones. And again, for now, the biggest we might be looking at is possibly penny to marble, and we're looking at marble right now, and some of these lighter blues are just going to be pea size. So still, I mean, if you're out in the middle of a storm, you don't want to be that, because one, you're going to get hit by pellets of pea-sized hail. Secondly, I mean, the amount of lightning is dangerous on its own. So again, make sure you're indoors at this time. We'll take off hail zone, and we'll see if we can zoom in first and see if any major wind is actually taking place. And I'm going to focus in. We're going to go ground level in some of these spots. So right along I-39 between Bancroft, Hancock, and just south of Coloma, that's the dangerous part of this storm. And you can almost see the signature. We call this a Boeing signature, and it almost gives you, again, a bow and arrow look, and that is indicative of big-time wind. Now, the radar might not be showing that, but I would be a fool to not think that there's some type of wind, and maybe possibly some major wind at this point. So we'll head down here. Near Grand Marsh, there looks to be some brighter contours. And for now, it's nothing major. We're looking at about 41, 43, 45 is the biggest I've seen so far. Again, this is a loft. So again, this is just an estimate of some of the wind velocities that we look at through our radar beam. And that's going to send us back a little bit of information. We also look with this scope, we look for rotation aloft. And again, right now, the good news, I'm not seeing any rotation within these storms. What I'm looking for are green and red. Green toward, red away. That usually signifies wind kind of circulating into the upper levels of the atmosphere. If you have a tight couplet with green and a tight couplet of red close together like that, you could be looking at, again, some rotation aloft. And right now, again, there might be a little bit of rotation, but I'm not seeing anything major where the Weather Service might go ahead and again, put a tornado warning out at this point. But I don't think that's the case right now. I'm looking back into the storm between the Cedar and Arkdale. There are some stronger winds. You can see 46 there. There's a 53. That's the biggest we've seen. So there's 54. So there are some stronger winds back where the core is darker shading of this core. There's 50 again. So again, there are some winds pretty strong. There's 50 again. I'm trying to get something maybe a little bit bigger, but again, right now, it looks like per radar indication, we're not looking at damaging wind. And when I think of damaging wind, I think of anything that gives you the criteria for severe thunderstorms. Anything over 58 miles an hour can bring down trees, can take down power lines, can snap, again, branches, or send lawn ornaments all over. Again, you don't even need 58 miles an hour for things out on your lawn to get blown around. But that's usually the threshold for, again, damaging winds. But anything under that, obviously, there is a possibility. We'll zoom out. And this is the storm right now. Again, at first it was, again, more of just an isolated kind of cell itself. And now it's trying to almost develop a small little line here of these showers and thunderstorms. So, again, we'll go over the warnings one more time. The severe thunderstorm warning, this is for Adams and Juneau County. That runs until 5 o'clock. The ones for Wood County, doesn't look like that's in effect any longer, but the ones for Portage and the one for Waushara counties, those, I believe, run until 5:15. So we still have another 35 minutes or so just for the ones for Juneau and Adams, and a little bit longer for this. But again, the main threats within this line continue to be gusty to even damaging winds. And you're looking at lightning strikes. I know the last time we showed you lightning tracker, anywhere from possibly 1,500 to, again, almost 3,000. So as this continues to dive to the south and to the east, I'm not seeing a way of possibly a weakening trend. Sure, there could be maybe some recycling going on with the environment, maybe going through, again, maybe some cooler spots, and then it's going to continue to slide to the southeast and probably going into the atmosphere that hasn't been hit by thunderstorms yet. And with dew points, as I showed you in Wautoma, at that sensor, almost near 80, which is, I mean, incredible for anyone or any part of the state or any part of the country. If you're near 80 degrees to the dew point, there is a ton of energy to work with within the atmosphere. I know I heard a beeping here. I want to make sure there's no other updates here. It doesn't look like. So at this time, Eric, if you can bring me back up into the Weather Center when you get that all coded up, we'll probably leave programming at this time. But again, if any other warnings take place, we'll get you back. We'll get you back here in the Weather Center. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But again, severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Juneau and Adams. That runs until 5 o'clock, basically central and southern portions of Juneau and Adams. And it looks like Portage no longer in that polygon area for severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like it's just Waushara County. Again, this storm driving to the east-southeast at around 40 miles an hour and has history of producing strong, possibly gusty to even damaging winds, quarter-size hail, and also deadly cloudy ground lightning. So again, if you're in any of these areas, including Juneau, Adams, Waushara County, you want to make sure you seek shelter at this time. For now, I'm going to get you back to Ellen. I will hop on Facebook chat if you want some more information on this. We'll make sure we have the latest for you. And if we don't jump back in between now and 5, I'll have the very latest coming up on News Channel 7 at 5. We'll get you back to Ellen.